Hey there, folks. Welcome again to the Renegade Butcher Show. Hey, if you're on the audio side of this and this sort of sucks, I'm sorry about that. I'm pre-recording the intro here really quick just so I don't forget anything before we bring our awesome guest on. We've got Tiffany Baxter coming on from Backyard Butchery. She'll be on here in just a minute. I've known Tiffany for a couple of years. She's been running her business solo for now about a year, and she does exactly what the name says. She rolls in with her mobile processing unit. It's licensed in the state of Oklahoma, and butchers it all in the backyard for you. So lots to talk about there. And she and I talk back and forth all the time when it comes to butcher work. She'll run into an interesting situation and kind of lean on my experience from the past, and we're always sharing stuff back and forth. So it was time to finally get her on the show. Schedules aligned and it just worked out. And hey, hopefully eventually I'll get a chance to go up there and work with her a little bit and see what her setup's like. That'll be awesome. Anyways, let me do some shopkeeping here because, well, I've got the shop up, as you guys know. If you were listening to previous episodes, if you were in the Telegram chat, which you should be, if not, check out the link down in the bio or in the show notes, and you can get set up in there. Just pop in there, request to join, and if I don't recognize you, I'll probably send you a message and be like, hey, who are you? Where'd you find us? Make sure you're not a spammer. But anyways, folks, renegadebutcher.com is live. The shop is up. We've got seasoning ready to go. Seasoning of the Month Club is launched. There's always more stuff getting added. Always working out the kinks, adding new pictures, doing all that fun stuff. So if you see something that's messed up, definitely let me know. But there's been a bunch of exciting stuff going on there. We've got a new partnership with Brian Norton from Food Forest Farms. I'm also including that in the shop. You can go there and buy Renegade Butcher coffee that the only guy that I will buy coffee from is blending specifically to my specs. 3 different levels of roast. You've got rare, which is going to be a light roast. It's pretty much what I prefer. Higher caffeine content, smoother flavor. You're tasting the whole bean. It's not overcooked. You got medium, and you've got well done. Well done's going to be that dark roast. So if you prefer that really caramelized, dark, kind of slightly charred bean, the nice thing about air roast is it isn't burnt, so it doesn't turn bitter. But if you like that darker, that's where you go. So speaking of that dark roast, I just put together a blend today. I've been teasing it for a while, but I've done it before in the past for my own personal use. Decided to whip it up and offer it in the shop as a seasoning. It is a chili seasoning. Yes, like chili, like when you make a pot of chili. And it has a little bit of coffee in it. That's right. It has some of this excellent Renegade Butcher coffee, dark roast. It adds that caramelized back notes and flavor. It does not taste like coffee when you're eating it. It's diluted enough that you get those notes of the roasting to the forefront, but you pretty much don't know it's coffee unless you know. You know, if somebody told you, maybe you can see it, but it does not come to the forefront. It just kind of adds more body to the whole dish. Anyways, if you want to buy any of his products, be sure to check it out on the shop. There is a link directly to go buy from him, and I have it embedded in the website as well. Your payment will still be on a separate transaction that goes to him. He takes care of all that, and he will custom roast the stuff for you. He's really good at what he does. Best coffee in the world, I swear. I won't buy it from anybody else. And yeah, it looks a little bit pricey when you look at the initial price per pound on this coffee, but it blows everything else out of the water that I have ever touched. And you have no room to talk if you buy, pre-made coffee. $27 a pound for a bag of coffee sounds like a lot, but it pretty much comes out to about 65 cents for a cup of coffee. So let me help you save some money on Starbucks and get you some better coffee than Starbucks, I swear. Anyways, I could go on about that for a long time, but I've got to get the guest on. I also want to announce, if you are a member of the Survival Podcast Member Support Brigade, keep an eye on your benefits. You should be seeing a discount for the Renegade Butcher for the shop, all the seasonings, as well as the coffee. That'll be coming up. And if there's something you want to order in the meantime and you are a Member Support Brigade member, let me know, and I will make sure that you get that discount. It might take Jack a minute to get it all in the website. He's a very busy man, has a lot going on. But I wanted to let you guys know, if you are signing up, I don't want anybody mad that, hey man, I should have waited. You don't have to wait. We'll get you taken care of. If there's something custom that you're looking for, something you don't see in the shop, let me know, or fill out the form on the website. There is a custom roasting quote request form, and you just let me know what you're hunting for. Give me your contact information. I'll get in touch with you. Whether it's a blend that you don't see, whether you have a really great idea for something I should be offering, or you have, say, a set amount of meat that you plan on making a specific type of sausage and you don't want to have to think about how do I get these ratios right, let me know. I'll blend it up for you, come up with my best price, including shipping, and get it off to you. So that's what I do, folks. That's what I do. Other than that, and try to educate people on meat and apparently run a podcast. So that said, let's see, what else do I need to cover? Oh yeah, we have the Season for Freedom video. That's right, every week a little educational video on different types of spices. So I know you guys have been waiting with bated breath for that. We did onions this week by your request. Well, we put it up to a vote. Onion won out by just a little bit. It's often overlooked as a seasoning or spice. Nobody thinks of it, but how much do you use onion powder in? It's kind of the basis of a lot of things. So, kind of like we covered all of the other basics like salt and pepper and garlics before, we need to cover onion. So, let me know though what you guys think I should do next week. I'm going to air that video now. It's also live up on TikTok and on YouTube. So, if you're listening to the audio side of this and you have not got a chance to see it, be sure to go check that out or join the Telegram group. I'll be posting it up in there as well. With that said, let me get this rolling. And after that, we're going to bring Tiffany on and we'll go on with the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Season for Freedom series. Today, we're talking about onions. Everybody forgets about onions, but it's a very well-used seasoning. So let's get into it. Onions are one of the most commonly used vegetables in cooking and have been used for thousands of years. They come in different types such as red, yellow, and white onions. Did you know that onions originated from southwestern Asia, but are now grown throughout the world? Onions have many health benefits, such as improved heart health, better blood sugar control, and increased bone density. They're also a rich source of prebiotics, which helps boost digestive health, improve bacterial balance in the gut, and benefit your immune system. These bulb-like vegetables can be consumed raw, pickled, in vinegar, fried in oil, baked, boiled, and of course, dried as a spice. Onions are also used for herbal purposes, such as treating coughs and colds. They contain sulfur compounds that reduce inflammation and fight infections. Onions contain a chemical called syn-propanethiol S-oxide, which irritates the eyes and causes them to tear up. When you cut an onion, it releases this chemical into the air. The chemical that reacts with the moisture in your eyes to form sulfuric acid, which causes your eyes to tear up. To avoid this, you can try cutting onions under running water or chilling them in the fridge before cutting them. You can also try wearing goggles and contact lenses while cutting onions, but a pro tip is to be sure you use a very sharp, safely, knife to cut your onions because a dull knife crushes the onion, releasing more of this chemical into the air. Onions are used widely in cooking. They add flavor to such dishes as stews, roasts, soups, salads, and everything. They're also served as a cooked vegetable. Some common dishes that use onions include French onion soup, onion rings, onion dip, onion straws. Onion powder is made by drying onions and then crushing them into flakes, cornmeal textured granules, or a fine, downy powder. Sometimes the onion is toasted first, which mellows its pungency. Here's how you can make onion powder at home. Wash the onions and discard the papery skins. Slice onions into 1/4 to 1/8 inch pieces. Place on dehydrator racks without overlapping. Dry them in the food dehydrator on 100 to 130 degrees or your oven with the door open. To dry onions, spread them in a thin layer on a baking pan or a rack covered with parchment paper. Once dry, grind them into a fine powder using a spice grinder or use a mortar and pestle. So next time you're cooking with onions, remember that they not only add flavor, but also have many health benefits. If you like these videos, be sure to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and let me know which spice to cover next. Thanks for watching.
Hey, folks, sorry about that short delay there. I was talking to Tiffany in the background. She is dealing with the technical stuff. We can't do the TikTok and the regular live on the same device, so she is getting her computer out and getting set up. So, yeah, here I am again, and I turned that microphone down so we don't get an echo. I don't want to hear her in two places at one time, or have you all have to hear her in two places at one time. So, anyways, since that's wrapped up, I hope you like that spice video. Like I said, onion's kind of a common, normal spice. You don't, I mean, we all know it. We kind of overlook it. We don't think anything of it, but has a lot of uses. And you should tell me what we should do next week. I already see you over there, Kyle, in the chat, in the comments, and I know you're going to say ginger, and that's probably what's going to happen because I guarantee you're going to vote on that. And hey, here's Tiffany. So let's bring her on and roll on with the show. Let me adjust screens and boom. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, I figured it out.
Hey, all right. I think you joined on TikTok too. Okay, cool. At least I see your symbol. I don't see a camera, but cool. Woohoo!
Okay.
It's all new to me. I've never done the TikTok thing with another person either. So we're all learning here.
Done live ever?
Well, there we go.
Okay.
You heard it here, folks. We popped her live, Cherry. Live
Yay!
on the air.
Okay. So I'm
all right, cool. So hey, anyway, I kind of did a quick intro of who you are, but I'm sure I probably fucked it up. So to people who don't know you or haven't followed stuff or read anything about it, who the fuck's a Tiffany and what does she do?
Oh my gosh, that's such a loaded question. First of all, so Backyard Butchery is my latest and greatest, establishment. It's a fully mobile processing unit for beef, pork, lamb, and goat, and it's the first in Oklahoma. There's only a couple more that I know of, and for those of you listening, that's how we met. So 2 years ago, November of 2020, I started reaching out to anyone and everyone doing anything remotely mobile in butchering.
I was doing about the same around the same time. Yeah.
Yes. And so I was like, I just got to find someone who's already doing this and get some advice. That's when I started building Backyard Butchery. It took 1 year and 7 months, unfortunately.
It's not a quick process when you're putting together a licensed unit. Even just the construction itself is a lot, and then you have to get it all approved.
And then during COVID, like trying to get, it was a truck shortage, a trailer shortage, processing equipment. Everybody went in like.
But the demand was through the roof for the work, just getting there.
Yeah, everybody pandemic purchased processing equipment. So then I was trying to find processing equipment. And that was a nightmare. And I really had no idea how I was going to do it, honestly. So I was just asking anybody and everybody. And I'm so glad I found you.
Well, you ended up, we connected through a mutual friend that also runs a mobile unit down in Texas. And it was kind of cool. Like everybody was starting off with this new thing. It was so new around here. Cool. So we have like a little chat group with like 4 or 6 people or whatnot for the most part that we're all like, hey, we're all kind of in this together, which has been great, with the exception of like maybe an outlier or two here and there that have caused some shit. We mostly all get along and send each other work because there's a shitload of animals and it's not competitive. It's like people helping each other out. That's a community building. So
yes. And I get calls all the time for Texas constantly. And unfortunately I'm stuck being licensed in the state of Oklahoma. And honestly, I have enough work here. I don't need to go to Texas. The 300 goat thing would have been fun though. I still to do.
You probably could have came and worked under their license, basically. Sure. You worked for them. I've done that a couple of times too. Yeah. We're talking about a mutual friend that has a licensed unit in the state of Texas too, which the regulations are different in some ways. So there are some things that have to be done a little bit different there, but they license the company and the mobile unit, not the butcher itself. So I don't have to have a license to go work for somebody else. I have to have a license to run my own truck.
Right.
She's set up in Oklahoma and they have, so up there, you can skin outdoors. You can't skin outdoors in Texas. We have to build the indoors off of a truck to make it happen. It's a ridiculous thing. Or we have to pull it up inside of a trailer like our friends have. So
Texas is so lame for that. Can I just
say? They're the only state in the union. Of all places, like Texas overall is pretty well one of the more lenient states for most things.
Yeah.
Outdoor skinning and like mobile butchery is not one of those. It's one of the hardest things. working. I'm like, why did I end up here? I love the state. I love the area. I love so much about this, but that is not one thing I love.
I just don't understand why they want you to skin inside when all the bacteria is on the hide.
They say insect abatement, but I mean,
because of flies. Yeah, but the thing is anytime I have,
because the flies are apparently worse here than they are in Oklahoma or anywhere else in the fucking world. The state of Texas has the worst flies, and our flies are bad, and nobody else's is. You know.
Yeah, but okay. So anytime I have a fly problem, it's because it's on the animal. So because not everybody treats for flies on their cattle.
Yep.
So 95% of the time, it's on the hide of the cow as I'm bringing it. So if I were to skin inside, I'd be bringing them all in.
Have you tried the mineral oil trick?
Yes.
You know, the white mineral oil? Yeah, it's amazing that stuff is like completely neutral and it kills flies.
I know. It's just crazy
to
me.
If anybody's watching, if you have food grade mineral oil, which you buy for like butchery equipment and keeping stuff like lubricated and stuff, and it's food safe, you can buy it by the gallon. They call it the white oil. If you put it in a spray bottle and spray it on a cow, the flies either die or go away. It's crazy, and it's like completely food safe. So an inspector told a mutual friend of ours that and passed it around, and I didn't believe it until I tried it. So anyway, little tip there for everybody. So anyway, you're into this now, and you're keeping busy. Yes. I know you're out there, sometimes 7 days a week.
I was there all weekend.
5 pigs yesterday. Yeah,
5 pigs on Sunday.
Jeez, but that's the thing. You didn't just fall into this. How'd you end up here? Where did you come from? Are you like one of those serial entrepreneurs that's always run a bunch of little businesses, or did you just sort of fall into this one day and say, "I'm going to be a butcher and run my own shit"?
You know, it's really a long story. I didn't grow up in an agricultural family, like farming. Everybody assumes I was raised on a farm, and I was not. My father is actually from New York. Ironically, they hated that I got myself into FFA as a teenager. But I think at a really young age, my grandfather had a garden. He died when I was 9, unfortunately. But I remember growing a garden after he passed. And so I think at a very young age, I learned that I could grow my own food. And you can get addicted to growing your own food because it's so much better. And then you realize like how much better for you it is and for the environment. And then you just it's like a rabbit hole. You know, it starts with this one little thing.
You start with the self-sufficiency, and then you realize all the other areas in your life where you're not as self-sufficient as you'd like. And it never stops. You're always chasing that perfection of like total independence. And you never get there, but you're always trying.
Right. And so I was in restaurants 16 years. I bartended the last 12. I actually just quit bartending last, like 1st of August around then.
I remember quite a few times you be messaging me about shit going on at the bar while you're dealing with it. You're like, I've got to go butcher animals tomorrow, and I've got this dick that won't let me take their shift.
I know, it was so frustrating, but I had to because, I'm doing everything by myself.
You got to pay the bills. Why?
There's no, they weren't going to
amazingly, there's not a bunch of like just people out there who have a ton of money who are like, I'm just going to give money to these people who want to start up their own butchery business. No, you've got to actually work a job and pay for this shit while you build it.
Exactly. I had to front everything by myself. There was no like business loans or anything cool like that. So essentially, like one thing led to another. I bought this property when I was 23, and I've got just a few acres. Like I don't have a ton of property, but I started with chickens. It's the gateway drug, right? Everybody knows.
Absolutely.
Chickens are the gateway drug to farming. So I started with chickens, and then I immediately knew I was like, I'm going to have to butcher roosters at some point. So I remember giving away my first rooster, and I was like, that's the only one. I'm going to butcher the next one. And so, but then there was like a sale at Tractor Supply. They had like Cornish cross chickens for like nothing, like a quarter. So I bought 140 of them. I said, screw it. I'm going to buy 140 of them. I'm going to butcher all of them. I had no idea what I was doing. I was literally outside after a bar shift in the middle of the dark at night with a YouTube and a butcher knife, cutting up these chickens. And it was the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. I wish somebody would have videoed it, honestly. I think I watched the lung portion over and over. Like I just kept rewind, because I could not figure out the lungs. And then finally,
I learned to cram my hand in there till all the squishy parts came out eventually, and then figured out what that meant.
there's like a finger trick now. Now I know I can get it out without looking.
Somebody in my Telegram group the other day posted apparently there's a lung remover tool. There's like a little scoop with like a ring. I'm like, what? Who needs
my friend
that?
Blaze, she loves that tool. She swears by it. But I was like, I've got it down now. We're good. But I had started selling chickens after that. Okay. And then I was doing Thanksgiving turkeys, and that went really well. But people didn't really want to spend $25 on chicken. They had no problem spending $100 on a turkey for a once a year event. That's a special occasion. And
but it's a hard game because there's a lot of people in it, you know, and it's miserable hard work when it comes to the processing. I hate processing poultry.
I actually don't mind it. I used to do 100 every 3 weeks.
You want to do any of mine?
Bring them up here. Yeah. I mean, I've got the plucker, the scalder, like all
That'd
the
be a really loud trip in the car.
Yeah, it would be. But I mean, so then I got bees. There's more to this story. It just keeps going. It just kind of builds and builds and builds. I ended up getting bees in 2013, maybe 14. And I'd only had bees like a year when somebody got on Facebook, and there's a beekeeping group, and they said, hey, somebody quoted me like $2,000 to remove these bees out of my soffit. Is there anybody that can help us? You know, this guy's like a retired veteran. He was disabled. He didn't have the money. And I'm a sucker for just about anything. So I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, but I am willing to try.
I ran an entire handyman business like that for a long time. I'd quote a job and be like, I think I can do that. And I'd spend the next 6 hours at home YouTube University my way into being able to do exactly that.
Yeah. And the thing is we're talking about something that at that time, now there's a ton of videos, but at that time, 2013, 2014, there was no DIY bee removal information, nothing. And so I just went out and did it. I remember spending the last $300 in my account on a ladder, and I go out there and I just rocked it. And then I got so confident. I was like, I could do this again. And I did. And I ended up doing one that took me like 12 hours the next time. It's still probably to this day is one of the top 5 biggest hives I ever did. And it was like the second one I did. I was using yard tools to just scrape all the way to the back to get the last pieces of comb. And so then the first year I did a lot of cheap removals. That business is still going. I still do live bee removals. I don't work commercially anymore, but I do the removals. So I also at that time was like, I want to learn this commercial side of beekeeping, and the commercial ways are very different than the hobbyist side of beekeeping. And so I started working for all these commercial beekeepers across the country. And I did this for 5-6 years. I don't know. I just worked as like hired labor, and I managed 1,200 hives on the East Coast. I went and harvested,
That's how you really learn it in and out, is just go and work it.
Go and learn from other people. And so what I learned the most is what not to do. But I remember sorting through 1,200 hives and marking every queen in every hive. And ever since then, I can go through a hive, or I can pull apart somebody's wall or whatever. I can find the queen so fast. So it's a great, it was a great learning experience. I would not trade it for anything. I wouldn't say I'm a serial entrepreneur. I feel like it's very addictive, though.
Oh, it is. It is. Once you start working for yourself, it's really hard to go back and work for somebody else. And if you do, it's usually part-time because you're trying to learn something. You know, that's where I'm at.
I loved the process of building it. I will say the first year, it's almost been a year now. I'm freaking out. I can't believe it's been a year. But this last year has been a roller coaster ride. Like, you get
into some wild shit when it comes to the mobile processing. You never know. What did I tell you when you started off doing this? Because they were trying to give you all kinds of advice. I remember the one thing I said in that Facebook chat was, be prepared to be unprepared. Be prepared to have to improvise all the time. Because I said, not only is the customer not going to cooperate, the animal's not going to cooperate. You never know what you're walking into. All your shit's going to break, and you're going to have to figure it out. And there's nobody there to save you.
Yes, I'm literally in a pasture with like no cell service, about to do a C-section on a cow, I'm gonna shoot. Okay?
Who do you call? You're the only one in Oklahoma, I think, doing mobile right now, right?
I'm the only one. There's
so
not
who
even
the hell
anyone
else is
doing.
going to call and save your ass if something goes wrong? Nobody. You are the one that they call.
Yeah, and there's not even anyone doing mobile slaughter here.
No.
Like
no, it's
there
crazy.
used to be slaughter trucks that would haul back to butcher shops, and I could legally do that, but no butcher shop here has wanted to work with me in that way. You know, it's a cutthroat business, pun intended.
Right.
You know, which I learned previously because I actually
if
offered.
Somebody prefers hung beef. I mean, I can see why they would want to go that way, but yeah,
it's fine. I mean, at some point,
it's nice to have the option.
Right. I wanted to build,
but you're rarely slow enough. Yeah, that's it. It's usually you're busy enough with like emergency calls and stuff that people just don't have another option to even bother with stuff like that. You know, so you haven't hit your dry spell. You have not hit a point where it's like it's slowed down for you.
This month was slow, but I say slow. It's just been pig heavy, but everybody's retiring show pigs this month. And everybody's still trying to fatten up cows. And a lot of people in Oklahoma sold all their cows. Right. We sold more cows in Oklahoma than any other state. We sold like 600,000 cows last year, some incredible amount, which the second closest state is less than half of that. That's how tremendous the cow and beef supply is in Oklahoma. We are going to have a crisis. We're already seeing heifers go for gold right now. And Oklahoma's always been a heifer state. So
it was bad in Texas this year too.
It's bad. It's
everybody
so
sold stuff off because the drought was so hard on people. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And nobody can afford hay. And what you're going to get is some trash prairie hay for $120 a round bale out here. Nobody's buying that. Like I can't even sell goats right now. Nobody wants to buy
bringing hay in from like, you know, Kansas and Nebraska and stuff like that. And then if you get it from there, the shipping cost alone, you're paying. I mean, the hay prices were ridiculous. I mean, we were seeing like $200 rounds places down here over the winter. Insane. It was just crazy. Yeah. But I mean, it's you never know. I'm hoping this year's not as dry. I'm really, really hoping it's not. But I don't have cattle, thankfully. But it about killed me the one square I get a freaking week. I don't have time for the fencing and stuff, and I already have so many animals and projects that make it hard for me to take trips. And the more I do this, the more people want me to go on trips. They want me to go to events. They want me to come speak. They want me to come teach classes. And I was like, yeah, but I've got my own fucking animals I got to take care of too.
That's a good problem to have, though, Josh. It's such a good problem.
I agree.
I love teaching classes, and I've really enjoyed that part of, and I've always been doing that. I've done beekeeping classes forever, poultry processing classes forever, and moving into like more pork and beef. We did our first beef butchering class last fall, and it was phenomenally sexy. Awesome. We sold out in 3 hours. 3 hours.
Yeah. I'm supposed to do a class or two coming up in spring, but we haven't settled dates yet or whatnot. But it's all that I do a lot of the private instruction right now because I don't have the rig to go out and do it. The only thing I've got that I can do is they're doing the butchery and I am teaching them, you know? So there is no license to be a teacher in the state of Texas.
If you were closer, I'd just be like, hey, I'm taking off for a week.
If it wasn't like a 7-hour drive to come hang out for a weekend and work, you know, but it's kind of one of those, if I do that, it's going to be like, come and hang out for a week or something like that, make it worth the drive. So we'll see if we can arrange everything. Hopefully at some point. You're not that far away. In fact, Kyle over here, he was talking. Kyle's also in my Telegram group. He's a small custom butcher and raises his own cattle and stuff. Just joined my community and group over on Telegram not long ago. He's been on 3 of my podcasts now, and but he's up in New Hampshire. So we're all he just sent me. He literally just sent me bear fat. I got bear fat in the mail from the guy the other day. That's crazy. But so he thought he was going to be on this episode of the podcast. I said, no, I'm actually going to have another butcher on. So he was mad because I'm cheating on him apparently. But anyway, he thinks the next one around we should have like just a 3-way butcher chat. So
oh my gosh,
one of these times,
right,
we should just get like 5 of us together just people on a podcast and just have Butcher madness. Just embrace the chaos. So
It is chaos, though. Really, like I
it
look
is.
back at the last year, and I deserve. I could fill 3 seasons of drama TV. Okay, so how do we get the echo off on TikTok Live over here?
Oh, you're in an echo. So what I did was I put an earbud in over for my computer for StreamYard, and then I just turned the mic off on TikTok.
Okay, my mic's.
That's what I did, just so I'm only listening to one side of it.
Okay, yeah.
Or if you can turn your volume all the way down on your phone, you're probably fine too.
I think I did do that actually.
Okay.
I've already
As long
done
as you
that
have
on my
one
phone.
way to hear, yeah.
Yeah, I've got it down on the phone, so I think we should be okay.
I'm not
But
hearing an echo.
Well, somebody commented on TikTok Live. They said, the echo, I can't do it. Catch y'all later.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. That's why I was like, crap, my bad. That's fine.
That's why I put the earbud in, because you're getting it from the computer and you're getting it from me on TikTok, both. So
yeah.
they're hearing both. Okay. Well, hey,
I turned the volume down on my phone, so hopefully.
There you go. I wonder if you can turn the mic off. Is there a mic off button over there on TikTok? That might be.
There it is.
But that means nobody on TikTok's going to hear you. They might hear it through. No, they won't hear it through my computer either. This is complicated. We've got this weird two-way thing going on here.
Yeah,
I'm trying. If
Hunter said he's going to check back on TikTok. Awesome. So
yeah, let us know. Let us know what's going on, and we figured I can go get my earbud, but it's all the way in my pickup. So
yeah, we'll make it work one way or the other.
Long walk out there.
Right. I don't want to mute my mic over on TikTok because then nobody will hear me.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I ended up with the earbud thing. I had to think about that ahead of time. I'm like, how am I going to do this without having both audios going? But hey, like I said, your first time live, my first time doing 2 on TikTok at once. A lot of times I'll throw TikTok up live when I do my podcast, but I've never done it on an interview because we haven't had the other party on TikTok. Yeah. Most people that I'm friends with that are on TikTok don't even have enough to go live. So
well,
they're working their way that way. So, but
I've loved TikTok because I actually underestimated TikTok so hard because I thought, no, that's no way that's going to be my.
It was just dancing teens, That's what I thought for a long time too. But I'll tell you what, there is nothing else going on right now in social media where, as a small business or like somebody who is like teaching, that you can blow the hell up like that without having to pay. That's the other thing. All the other platforms make you pay to play.
Right.
They just kind of like the algorithm finds people who are interested in what you're talking about and shows it to them. And if you're talking about something people are interested in, people show up.
I'm going to be so angry if they ban it. End of story.
Me too. I have a feeling they won't. They'll probably reach some stupid compromise. I'm sure we'll all lose some First Amendment rights in the process. But
it's better.
There's no way people are going to stand for the shit they're trying to push through right now. It's too broad reaching beyond TikTok. I mean,
dude, it would be the revolution.
I'm saying. I told somebody the other day, I said, if anything got Gen Z to worry about something more than their pronouns, it would be this.
Thank God.
If anything ever happened, it would be this. You take away their TikToks and then say, if there's more than 1 million viewers on your video game or users on your video game, the government can use it. Yeah,
and people don't see like what this would do to small businesses. Like TikTok.
How many businesses have built themselves up on TikTok and had their following from it? That's why I made a video the other day telling everybody, I was like, hey, look, I don't think this is all going to get banned, but go follow me and other people on their own other shit. Go to my website and sign up to my newsletter. Go follow me on YouTube. Because if it does go away, well, you may never fucking see my shit again. But if you like these people, just in case, all the people that you like to follow, go fucking follow them where you can. Because you never know. They might get banned. Facebook might ban me. If those Facebook people aren't following me somewhere else, they'll probably never fucking find me again.
Hey, if your stuff gets flagged as much as mine does, I could show the same video
I've learned to not post certain dead things or be creative about how I do it.
It's so funny because I can show one carcass in one picture and another one in another video.
Yep.
One gets flagged, one doesn't. And then I'm on Facebook literally dispatching an animal.
I've had videos go up on TikTok with the auto download that I've posted and like got pulled down because it was like there was blood on a goat or something, and I'm doing an educational video. And then I literally took the download copy, re-uploaded it, and it stays.
It's crazy. I don't understand. I have appealed a lot of them and they let them come back up, but they'll literally you can't even log in for X amount of days. And I'm like, cool. Yep. I'm glad I didn't want to announce anything. Like literally my appointment tomorrow is from TikTok.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I was surprised. So most of my stuff where I do the community stuff, we do daily questions, we do all the podcast announcements, all like the ins and outs of the business stuff. I do on Telegram because that's like the closed chat group and nobody can censor it.
Right.
I had somebody, one of my TikTok followers, ended up coming over there to that community, and it's like in there all the time. Random person from TikTok. I'm like, what the heck? Kyle over here was listening to the audio podcast and found me, and then now he's been on the show 3 times. So it's crazy though. You've got to put your stuff up. Let's see here. Oh, I have an actual podcast. Yes, I do, Lisa. That's right. Every once in a while, I actually do. This year, I've actually stuck with my commitment of doing at least one a week, and I actually did 2 1 week. So hey. Last year it was hit or miss. It was when I had something I wanted to put out, I did a podcast, which I'm that perfectionist that I don't like to put it out unless it's perfect. So I've had to learn to be imperfect and just do it anyway.
I struggle with that myself.
Yeah.
I do not know how you have time for a podcast. I admire you.
The only way to do it is I set a specific schedule now for me is it's 6 p.m. every Tuesday, and I plan around it. I
literally barely made it to this within just minutes. I was like, I'm going to shower. I was like, I'm going to not look like I butchered a
You didn't want to look the butcher on the Butcher podcast?
Yeah, I know. I like blood on my face. No, I made sure. I was like, I'm going to
add authenticity.
My hair, because I didn't want to look homeless.
I have homeless people that watch this. Okay, don't. Not just kidding.
Right? I mean, honestly, we might all be homeless really soon. So
they couldn't make it over to the comments tonight because they forgot and they're having dinner. But Brian and Corey, I'm sure they'll pop in later on. They actually came down to Texas. I met them through some of these other communities online and in all these podcasters, and they came down for the last 4 months and we're hanging out not too far from the shop. And he'd come over a couple times a week between doing all his podcasting stuff, and he worked with me doing deer. So awesome. It's crazy how, all those connections, people just come together. So it's just constantly building community, and you have to put this stuff out in all the different places for people to find you. Because there's a lot of people out there that want to learn this stuff, and people don't know where to reach out to find it. So
okay, so you just talked. Okay, we just got a TikTok comment here. It's an industry I'd love to get into, but the gatekeeping is insane. Like you just said it. The gatekeeping is insane. Okay, so when I first wanted to learn how to do some beef, I offered every shop within like a 60-mile radius to work for free. I said, I'll work for free. I want to learn from as many people as possible. One person took me up on it. And how quick did she get me out of there? Like
really quick.
Seriously, I was there maybe less than 10 actual working days before I was told that I was learning too much. Yeah, and I was upfront and honest, totally. I said, I'm building a shop. This is what I'm building. I actually wanted to work with these people, because there's a lot of shops.
Beneficial if you were doing the mobile slaughter side, you could be bringing them business.
Exactly.
They so,
but there's a lot of shops that are paying these like slaughtermen, these traveling slaughtermen. They're paying them like $250 a head or something, some crazy amount of money.
Well, especially when you get up into like Wyoming, Montana and stuff like that. That's the only way a lot of people can do it. There's actually a thriving market out there, but it's fairly new in the South.
I know. And so I was like, we can work together. Like what I am doing is not at all what you're doing. And I thought we had an agreement. I thought we had an agreement, but then it was like, you're learning too much too quick. And so I was like, fine. I had to kind of relearn how to cut beef fresh anyway. Because
it is very different. That's another thing we can touch on.
So different.
Because what you're doing is all hot cut. You're showing up. It's in and out one day. There's no hanging that carcass and whatnot. I prefer hung when I can, just especially when I'm teaching people, because it is so hard. Well, if somebody's trying to learn to do it at home, you don't want to have to try to cut a whole cow really fast and get it right. Exactly. You're not going to get it right. You'll just hack chunks of meat because you try to get it done before it rots. Yes. But you are providing a service that a lot of people don't have a walk-in cooler. They don't have a way to chill that, it's and you're doing it on a pretty good size scale. So
I know.
And the few times that I've actually taken the time to go and cut hot meat, I'll tell you what, it's very frustrating from somebody who's like a really picky butcher. I want those retail looking cuts.
I know.
They'll never look as good. They just won't. And you have to accept that as a part of it. But yeah.
I struggle with it. I do. I get better and better every day. Like especially boneless cuts. You know, I for the longest I couldn't get bone-in cuts, and then when I started kind of figuring out how to get those bone-in cuts, I was like, all right, I started feeling pretty happy about it.
That's right, because you got a bandsaw.
Yes, you know, I wasn't gonna put one on the trailer originally because you know I had
Right.
seen our mutual friend's trailer and they weren't using one, and I was like, oh, I don't need one.
They're not using one because they don't use one. They've
I
never
know.
used one, and it's not how they cut. And that's
I
it's
just
okay, but I
I
tell
got
you what,
lucky.
it's a game changer for some of the stuff that you can do.
It's the only item I was able to buy secondhand. So
Yep.
I got a friend of a friend. I got this. It's too small. Like doing a beef on it sucks, but
Yeah.
I figured out how to make it work.
Yep.
And eventually I'll upgrade all that equipment. But for right now, like I'm just gonna stick with what I got because it's like 6 figures just to upgrade the 4 or 5 things I want to upgrade, like the bandsaw, the vacuum sealer, the grinder, the generator.
Right.
And I would love to get like a hot power washer, like a steam power washer.
That
for
would be nice.
purposes. Yeah, that item I can actually maybe afford sooner than everything else. Everything else
Right,
is seriously like when I add it up, it's like $85,000. This processing equipment is insane. It's insane.
It is. It is extremely expensive. It is extremely expensive. Now try going to people's places and doing that stuff while packing it in and out of a Ford compact car.
This guy says hot cut is definitely different. Hot cut.
It's so different.
It is, you know, and I've got nothing against hanging beef. I love hanging beef. It's just originally I was gonna do a dry age cooler. The state originally was like, yeah, that'd be fine. And then 8 months into my
the state changes the mind, and you've just got to change your whole business plan. Yeah, that's typical of the state.
Yes, I was so frustrated. I was so frustrated because I was going to build a walk-in cooler that I could just back the trailer up to, connect to it, boom, move it in there, dry age.
And if people wanted to do hot cut and people wanted to do age, they have both options.
Yes. And I wanted to do
There's a lot of guys out west that do that. I know in that backyard butchery group, you see a ton of them towards like California, Nevada and stuff, where they just go around, they butcher, and then they bring it back to their shop or a handful of shops. And then when they're not on the road, they're cutting in their shop.
Right. And so my trailer is built with a rail. The capacity is 10,000 pounds. So I could butcher. I could slaughter. I shouldn't probably say that on TikTok Live. I can dispatch 8 head.
Unalive.
I can unalive 8 in a day.
If we're not banned yet, we're probably pretty good. I mean, I haven't even said fuck yet.
You did actually. You said it.
Oh, I did? Well, see, it's just like breathing.
I did, yeah.
It's like breathing.
Want that to be known that he cussed before I did, because usually it's me. I was raised by a Yankee, and I swear like a sailor. And people like I once had a little kid. He was like, "I've never heard anybody swear so much in my life," and I was like, "I'm sorry. I forget that not everybody has a filthy mouth."
I was on a very nice member of the community Christian Ladies podcast about a week ago, and we were impressed. I only managed to swear twice during the entire time, and it took me about 40 minutes to get there. So
it's so hard to do. And the last podcast I did, I was half asleep. So if anybody saw that last podcast or heard it, I'm sorry.
I did not. I didn't even know you'd been on one, so I didn't catch it.
I've been on a couple. Yeah, I've done.
Was it just audio, or was it the video side?
Just the audio.
Audio is harder. Honestly, I think audio is harder because you always have that pause and you're waiting, you're trying to figure it out. Yes. You don't want to talk over them. You don't get that. You don't get the facial expressions and shit like that. I did audio for a while, and I'll tell you what, I did it less, and it took me longer because I would always try to go in and edit my audio. Yeah. Now I just gave up completely. It's unscripted. It's me. You can deal with my fuck ups like I do.
Right. Okay. Somebody's asking, what is the name of that group again? It's called Backyard Butcher.
Yeah. She only ripped off her whole company name from a Facebook.
Totally did. You know what? We actually had a running list of names, and they were hilarious.
We did.
And if they would just allow Butcher Bitches to happen,
right?
I would have done that. I would have plastered it across the side of my trailer.
Right.
Butcher Bitches, baby.
Could have rolled in with a Butcher Bitch bus. Yeah.
I'm telling you. I wonder if I still have that list. Oh, I'd have to go.
Oh, I'm sure it's somewhere still in that Facebook group.
It was. And I am so like.
Oh, there's Kyle. Yeah, I forgot. Kyle's in that group too. Yep. He was commenting the other day. I was talking about the guy who had he had the engine hoist and they were holding the quarter up. I'm like, that's fucking genius. He goes, I saw that. I'm like, you're in that group too?
Yeah, I was actually going to post in there tonight and ask about bison because, I use a 350, but I might borrow a 308 for that.
The last one I did, I popped with the 30-06 and it worked, but
Yeah, because I don't know if my 350 would. If my 350 would do it, that would be amazing because I'm so
Just be
comfortable.
prepared. If it goes badly, it's going to charge you.
Yeah, it's
And
gonna suck.
be mindful of if there, like I said, if there are other herd members out anywhere near you, they may come fuck your shit up. So be careful.
I do not. No. I actually have been in communication with this grower or this producer for over a year now, and he was just kind of waiting for the right situation for us to work together. I told him, I said, I'm not going to do any big bulls. And I don't want to be in a pasture with a bunch of them. I like separate it out, make sure it's secure. Sure. I'll borrow a big gun. I don't want them anywhere near my trailer because they will wreck my trailer. And I've already had someone run their tractor into my trailer. Like it doesn't need more help getting banged up. I do a plenty good job on my own. Like I've already crunched a corner, screwed up my tailgate. I've done everything. Honestly, well, I didn't, you know what? I literally picked up that trailer and I had never owned a gooseneck. I've never driven anything over like 25 foot. And it was a learning curve.
Definitely. But I'll tell you what, a gooseneck is way easier to back into some of those hairy spots than not. So
it is,
at least you got that going.
Bro, I'm 52 foot head to toe.
It's huge.
52.
I don't know how you do it. I'm thinking about building shit into a 24-foot box truck because I want to stay maneuverable.
Okay, let me just tell you. I get into yesterday. If you'd have seen the property I was in yesterday, and I was cussing this thing out. I'm like screaming and yelling. I mean, I'm scratching up the sides of the trailer with freaking tree branches and all. I'm trying to dodge all these chicken pins. She's like, I cleared you a path. And I was like, what, for a Ford Ranger? I've got a dually
you can't back up through that?
Bro, I've gotten myself, I have managed to always get in and out, obviously. And I've only got stuck once, but I got out of it. I just had to like detach the trailer and spin around for a little bit.
How many freaking tires and axles have you blown out?
Oh, tires. Okay, so nails everywhere. There's nails everywhere. Yeah. So I finally just put a full, because you know the trailer tires that came on it were trash. So I just got rid of those and put on, I think 14 ply or something. Nice. I don't know. Yes.
That's expensive though.
Yes. And I've got 10 tires. So believe me, picking up nails and stuff has been a mess. And my tire guy just closed shop. So I'm like crying internally because I don't know where I'm going to have to find someone who I can trust with my stuff.
Right.
I'm still a woman. Okay. People still look at me and try to rip me off anytime I go. You know, they look at me a little differently when I pull up in a 350 with a 36-foot trailer, but they still try.
Oh, yeah. So when you're in that position, because that's something I've never had to experience, but when you're the woman by yourself that rolls up and I'm here to kill and process your animal, how does that work out? Do people just immediately get kind of geeked out about it? You ever get guys to feel like completely emasculated because a woman showed up to do the job that they don't know how to do? I mean, I could see that happening.
So I have so many stories. Yes. So not just the butcher business, the beekeeping business too, because I come up in my bee business, I scale, ladders and lifts and I cut open walls. I tear apart brick, and I tear apart brick beautifully, by the way. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm really, really good at it. And not to like pat myself on the back too much, but I do better than any man here. I promise. Like, I actually will take your house apart in a way you can put it back together. And when you look at some of my competitors, like they take it apart in a way that they're like, what are you going to do? It's just mass destruction. And also they don't carry any insurance and I do. So I kind of have that. But a lot of times I think people think I'm like the secretary when they call me. And then I show up and they're like,
oh, it's the dude's wife. Obviously answering the phone for him, she does his book.
If I had $1 for every dude that was like, where's your help? And I just look at him, I'm like, I brought an extra apron. I have an extra beekeeping suit in the truck if you want one.
There you go.
And they just look at you like,
what?
And the amount of guys that then try to like they try to do stuff, they'll be like, do you need any tools? And I'm like, do I need tools?
Do you need me to lift anything for you? Did you bring knives with you?
So many guys want to do the dispatch. and I won't allow
I learned
them.
the hard way. I get
Yeah.
customers that want to do that too because they just feel like it's their duty. Like I have to because this animal's hurt and I need to do it. And enough times it goes badly and they feel horrible and I feel horrible and I just have to fix it. No,
I'm
just
not
like,
doing
you
it.
paid me to do it. You paid me to do it.
Well,
If
remember,
you
I
want to
got
do it
shot
yourself,
at.
you can also butcher it yourself. I'm sorry. You know
I got shot at one time.
what?
Did I not tell you about that? Last
Did
year,
somebody shoot
last
your
summer,
direction or did somebody shoot at you intentionally?
shot at my direction. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay. I was like, I think I heard about that. I was like, who shot at you?
Shot 10 or 12 rounds in my direction. So it was summertime. I'm in my trailer and I've got the doors like shut.
That was shortly after you started.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I start hearing them and I had the music on, right? So I turned the music off and I'm like, oh my God. And I froze. I don't have windows. Okay. I can't see outside. I don't know what's going
Right.
on. I just froze. And my reaction actually scared me more than anything because I should have dropped to the ground like a normal person, but I did not. And I come out and essentially the story was that this lady had 4 pigs and, one of them got loose. I couldn't get my trailer back to the pig pen. She had too much crap in my way. And I was like, kind of like we were talking about the tires. I was like, I'm not willing to risk all 10 of my tires to get another 20 foot back there. So
Yep.
I was there because she couldn't keep them contained. That's why she made the butcher date. But it was really funny because when it came time, I was like, well, we can just unalive them here and then, drop and drag them up to the trailer.
Yep.
And she has a tractor, so it would have been no big deal. But she insisted on like getting a bucket full of feed and bringing them to the trailer. And I was like, didn't we just establish that you can't keep them contained? You know what I mean? Of course, 3 out of 4 went fine, took care of it, no problem. But the 4th one, it's always the little one. It's always the smallest one. Took off like a bat out of hell. And I mean, we're on like 100 acres. It's wooded.
I've done that. I've done that.
Yes, for about 45 minutes, I was trekking through the woods with my 350 in hand or 22. I don't even remember what I had in my hand.
And you cannot move through the woods the way a pig can. I promise you.
No. And I told her, I was like, look, it's going to come back. It's going to come back and eat. She had other pigs. She had some coonies on the property. I was like, it's going to come back. And, if we don't get it done today, we'll just reschedule. It's no big deal. Well, next thing I know, I had to go ahead and start butchering those other 3 too. Because I mean, mind you, this is summer. It's hot. I needed to get going. And so I get in the trailer but I hear all these rounds going off and I'm freaking out. I freeze. I come out of the trailer. She comes up with this thing on her tractor with bullet holes full of bullet holes.
Just
full of bullet holes.
Cheese the thing. We killed it. Here you go.
And
welcome to wild game processing. That's what it's like.
That's why I don't do wild game.
Yeah.
Like, don't even get me started on. We can't get started on that just yet. But this lady, swear to God, she says to me, I knew the bullets wouldn't reach you. We knew we were shooting your way, but I knew it wouldn't reach you. I said, what caliber? She said 22. And I said,
it can go over a mile.
Yes.
Yeah.
She really believed that it wasn't going to get that far.
Now, at a half a mile away, if a 22 hit that trailer, it's probably not going through the wall. It's going to mushroom on the outside. But still, the point is,
not the point. Yes.
And they were out there trying to track that pig down and put it down with a fucking 22 from a distance. Oh, God.
I had 6 rounds inside that pig.
I've done that with escaped potbellies before, but I literally have killed thousands of hogs. That I have a background in it, and still sometimes it didn't work well.
So last week, I had half cooney, half wild hogs.
Yep.
And
yeah, you showed me those pictures.
Yeah, I did 2 out of 3. And the third one, as I was skinning the second one, the third one got out and started just down the street. Mm-hmm. And all these guys started running to go, running after it. I was like, hey, everybody
we're going to have an old-fashioned pig wrestling.
And I put a scope on the 22 since, I think last November. And
22 Magnum?
Yeah.
If I remember. Yep.
Yeah. I moved the scope from my 350, put it on the 22 and got a nicer scope for my 350. Mm-hmm. And it was so much fun. That just one shot done. I love it. It was so much fun. I was like, dang it.
Everybody just stopped. What the hell?
I've never been a hunter. And that was like my first inkling that maybe I would like hunting.
I still remember the time that I was helping Tabitha and Jim out. And they had a cow that just would not come out. It got out of the pen that the customer had. And it was way out in the back pasture. This was like really early on with their shit. And I showed up to help. And I was like, I've been in this situation before. This is when the 30-06 comes out because this thing won't let anybody within like maybe 50 yards of it.
Yes.
And Jim will still talk about it. You'll see him comment in that group occasionally. Anytime I'm commenting on stuff about things being eye popping, literally shot this thing in the temple, dropped it right where it stood. But I didn't see it because I'm looking through the scope. I'm zoomed in. I'm ready to go. I dropped the cow. I know I did it, but I didn't see anything outside the scope. As the cow went down, its eyeball literally flew across the pasture. It exploded from its head. And they're like, whoa, everybody around's like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, it was a good shot. They're like, you didn't see the eye? I'm
That's
like,
pretty
what?
cool.
What? No, it just literally blew the eye out of this cow.
Do you know it's like a bouncy ball?
Apparently, but I mean, I don't know. I didn't see it bounce when it hit the pasture. So
I just learned this.
So do you walk around in your trailer bouncing cow eyes around now? Come on,
No,
don't lie.
but it is a fun
It's a
party
safe
trick.
space.
It's a fun party trick if you got kids around. You just pop that out and they're busy for hours. I'm just saying, you shouldn't leave your children unattended in my trailer. I will have them playing with eyeballs.
I mean, what do you expect? You leave children unattended in a butchery trailer.
Right.
Oh, Hunter had commented over on TikTok that he'll pay for the service of having it killed. That's why we're there, which
exactly.
I agree. And he said that no, actually, contrary to popular belief, I think he has some military experience. Freezing and not dropping is the standard response. You kind of have to be trained to learn to drop. You have the experience of being shot at before, I assume. So
yeah, that has never happened.
Not been in a lot of gunfights before your butchery career.
You know, I live in Oklahoma. Gunshots constant, right? We hear that crap every night. It's fine, but I have never had them like. It's different hearing them and then hearing them fly past you or pass around you. It was 10 or 12 shots, so it was just pow, 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 you know. So I just immediately was like, "Oh my god!"
With the times that I've had to deal with stuff, people have wanted to come out because there's just an animal that is out or whatnot. It's very rare that I will ever allow somebody else to have a gun around me and be helping me. It's like, no, there have been exceptions, and I know the guy's experienced in a hunter or whatnot, but I've always got one eyeball on where the heck he is at, and I will not stand somewhere forward of that man because I don't know you. I do not want to get shot. I only get one shot. One accident is all it takes.
But it's not just about that either. It's like, okay, well, what if you miss? Okay. Or what if you hit it and it goes into the spinal column? What if you I have to go fish that out later? I've got to mess with the meat. The only time I let someone do that is both of my guns were in the shop. And then I was borrowing a 223 and it got jammed. It jammed up. And I was like, dude, do you got a gun? And, you know, he got it. No problem. Thankfully, I kind of just told him, I was like, okay, here's where I need you to hit. And
you gotta be careful with those high calibers though. I had one cow that was just out in the pasture, and it was the old throw the feed down and, you know, get as close as you can because it's skittish. I was like, all right, well, I can't get close, so I'm gonna use a 30-06. Well, I learned the hard way. You don't want to do a head-on shot 30-06 when it's looking straight at you, because that 30-06 will go all the way through the head, down the throat, pop the gut, and that'll be waiting for you when you get in there.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I had
no problem, but you know, and I didn't even suspect anything until I started gutting it. Then as soon as I got in, I was like, oh no, it was just exploded in there. Whole inside of the ribs, I had to peel. It was a nightmare. Well, I got it done, but man, and I had to explain to the folks too, and I was like, well, this isn't typical. I hope you have a strong stomach because I know what we're about to get into.
Like, you're gonna cook it, right?
You got a water hose, Hayden?
You know, I was using the 22 mag on everything, and that short stint that I was at a shop, we used a 22 mag every time, was never a problem. And it wasn't it was my first beef by
myself. You're in a controlled environment, and you know you're going to be close, and
that 20, I saw a 22 mag. It was an older bull. He was horned. That thing literally just straight up in the air. It was, yes. And had the owner of the animal not been standing right next to me and also saw it, I wouldn't have believed it. I would have been like, I don't know what happened. I would have just been like, it didn't phase him.
I've never had one ricochet off before. I've had them mushroom on the skull inside the hide.
Yeah.
But I've never had one ricochet off.
It was terrifying. I've had more life or death in, like, It must be something. There must be
Dangerous
something
profession. It is not for the weak of heart. I can tell you right now. It's
right. We could
I've
probably
had more
guess-
animals try to kill me than gunshot issues, but yeah, hairy shit happens.
We could probably dissect that because both of the bee business and my butcher business are both extremely dangerous. Like in beekeeping, I'm on a ladder, okay, in a suit. It's usually hot out, okay. It's usually like
Right.
100 degrees with horrendous humidity here in Oklahoma. We love that humidity. And so I can't breathe. And then
Right.
there's the veil is dark. Nobody realizes that behind that veil, your
Yeah,
visibility is reduced substantially. And so you're
You're
going
looking
up
through
this,
a window screen this close to your face, you know.
yeah, so you're going up this ladder and you're carrying your sawzall and your smoker. So you're
and you can't fucking breathe. You feel like you're an astronaut in a spacesuit without the air conditioner, you know.
Yeah. And I've cut through walls and found gas lines. I've cut through walls and had bees wrapped around all sorts of electrical stuff. I've been electrocuted so hard. And there's probably something about my personality why I choose businesses that might kill me. I'm not really sure, but a lot of times I'm also working above my head. Yeah, and so honey is sometimes dripping, right? If it's over my head, if it's like a ceiling or something, or it's a soffit that's really high. So now it's slippery because there's honey on my ladder.
Slippery and sticky at the same time.
And I'm getting stung. Yeah. And it's 100 degrees outside.
And people don't realize that, you know, hey, if you're wearing a bee suit, that doesn't keep them from stinging you necessarily. It may reduce it some, but mainly it keeps the stingers from sticking in you. They can still sting you through that. If you want to wear extra clothes underneath of it, you might be fine, but you're also going to be hot as balls. So unless you're beekeeping in fucking December, which nobody does.
Well, you can't because they're hibernating essentially.
Right. So yeah, it is a very hot, miserable, hard job. And I kept bees for about 6 months. It's not for me. It's not for me. I've had some adventures in beekeeping. I did a lot of things wrong, but I'll let other people do that. I'm happy to pay that price for the honey because I know what goes into that shit.
Yes. Well, and I'm regularly on top of like high-pitched roofs. You know, there's a lot of really crazy videos of the crap I get into. Like I'm regularly in attics, crawling around in attics. I put myself in these positions where I'm having to use lifts, but I'm more comfortable in a ladder. So, you know, I might be 30 foot up on a ladder.
Truck. The bee bucket truck.
Just getting stung, and you cannot react or you will fall. You cannot react. Like that's the thing, you can't train people.
Like, it's gonna suck to get stung, but it's gonna suck a lot more when I stop really fast when I hit that ground.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever been stung on the nose, but that's what'll happen a lot of times is you lean forward in the veil.
And it touches and there happens to be there. Yep.
Okay, let me just tell you. Instant snot tears happening immediately. I
did never have that happen. I did get a freaking flying knee to the face through a fencing mask one time, and it broke my nose and skinned the shit. But I'll tell you what, same thing. Yeah, instant tears to your eyes.
Yeah, and you are
no longer capable of actually focusing on what's around you. You don't see anything. It's a blur. Yeah.
And so essentially, you know, I kind of just figured it out and haven't died yet in the beekeeping. And I've done the same thing with the butcher business is I've just kind of figured it out as I went. I haven't died yet. There's been some close calls, I think. You know, I've probably hit my head enough time. I'm concussed at least a little bit. Okay. When I first started working on the trailer, like it all folds in like little transformer trailer. It's cool. It's so badass.
You got those. Yeah. If you guys haven't checked it out, go check out her website because she's got pictures up there and her social media of all this stuff. It's pretty impressive what they've engineered to come out of this trailer for her lifts and
I'm really proud.
System. Yeah, it's a really badass rig.
And anyways, if you don't remember to duck,
try being 6'2" all the time.
Okay,
everything in the world is, and then wear a baseball cap. Everything in the world is right here. I have walked into shit so hard I've knocked myself on my ass.
My rail, you wouldn't clear my rail. You would constantly hit the rail.
Oh,
and luckily, I'm 5'7".
That's why I don't want to do a trailer. This is why I want to do a box truck. I need standing height.
Well, and you could do halves. That would be really cool because I have to quarter.
I don't even want to cared about doing halves. I don't even want to deal with that because I don't think I'd even have half height because you're not super low in those box trucks. I don't want like a semi truck height, you know.
No, you would struggle getting into
The
properties because of
freaking
trees.
wind just on the
Trees.
highway.
Well, that too. That's why I
Yeah.
got a dually. You know, and you saw me take some crap for that in that group.
Oh yeah,
Everybody's like, you don't really want a dually. You just, or
it's
you
too
don't
heavy.
need
You're
one,
gonna
you just
sink
want
and
one.
get stuck.
And I was like, bro,
Yeah,
that thing rides like a sailboat.
literally.
Oklahoma wind is seriously like, even just this last week, it's just been crazy gust of wind. My lips are so chapped from just wind.
It's been windy lately, and you guys get a lot more constant wind up there too, because it's a little bit more open. I'm kind of down in the woods, so for the most part, I keep out of it. But yeah, you get out on the plains, man, it's rough.
Yeah,
I was talking about my friends Brian and Corey. They have I think it's a 32-foot camper that they're living in now. They sold their place and they're just traveling for a while. 3 St. Bernards in it. They're freaking crazy. Yeah, I know, it's insane. They have a whole podcast about their life. But anyway, but they'll travel around. And they went out across the Rockies with that damn thing and over some of the big plains and whatnot. And his wife does all the driving because she likes doing it. That's her thing. And it's just, there's times it's just white knuckle, just trying to keep that shit on the road. You know, you got a 40-mile-an-hour crosswind and you've got a giant freaking sail behind you and they're bumper pull. So that's why I'm glad you're able to do the gooseneck, because
yes, the gooseneck is necessary. But I mean, even my rig sits honestly too low in my opinion, because especially going through pastures and stuff, like I've had that nose of that trailer into the tailgate more than once.
Yeah, and there's so many ruts and stuff like that. You could bottom out. I mean, most of those trailers only have like 6-8 inch ground clearance.
Exactly. So it's kind of like it's kind of a gamble between too low and too high, because even mine that sits super, super low, I've got a 7-foot, it's 7 foot tall, right? But then the AC units stick out another 16 inches or 18 inches out of the top.
Yep.
And I mean, I need more than 8-foot clearance.
That'll be my only issue if I do the box truck, is going to be height clearance, but I'll just have to live with that. I'll be like, if that's the one compromise I have to make, be like, look, you need to have 14-foot tree limb clearance for me to come out and help you. You know?
Yeah. It does suck. It's the one thing people don't think about is tree limbs and stuff. I'm hitting them all the time, and I've just had to accept.
I pretty much figure I'm going to have an electric chainsaw on board. It's going to be a part of it.
Pretty much. Yeah, I have loppers on board all the time, but also the clients usually have that stuff on them too. So I've only had to have a couple people pull stuff out. Most of the time I can make it work, but it's scratched the shit out of my trailer. And every time I look at the side of my trailer, I cry inside because I know what it's worth. And so many people on TikTok have asked me, like, what have you spent on your trailer? And I'm just going to say this right now. I have not answered that question because A, it's rude as hell, but B, it's more than my house. Okay. And I'll let you decide how much you think my house is worth. But I have more in that truck and trailer than I have in my entire property. And once I upgrade those items, we talked about that earlier, it's another 6 figures. Okay. So processing equipment is insane. And
especially if you buy mostly new. Absolutely.
And what I have is 100% custom built. And these people that have asked me on TikTok, like, how do I build a trailer like this? I want to do this. It's so hard for me to answer because every state has different laws. Like you in Texas, you have to skin inside. I skin outside. That changes the entire
completely changes
layout.
The whole ball game.
Exactly. And so, I built mine above and beyond USDA standards. Everything I have is my whole trailer is aluminum.
Right.
Aluminum.
Right.
Because I don't want rusting. I'm not gonna sit
here. You don't want wood floors.
No.
I could not handle that.
I can't. The smell would kill me. I can't. I'm okay with my house being a dirty disaster, but my workspace has to be clean and organized. Especially
when you're coming to people's property, you're there. That's the whole business model, is you can come in and look.
Yes. And that's the thing, is it's complete transparency. And that's what the customers love about my business. They know
they're getting their own stuff back because it never left.
They're willing to try it without hanging it because they are so dissatisfied and they do not trust their butchers. And I honestly don't blame them, because I have hired several people that have worked at several shops, and I have talked to these people and I've seen what they do, and I don't blame them. I've actually
got one of your customers is in my Telegram group, and he was telling some horror stories about some processors he's used in the past before for his pigs, and he's still finding stuff in the freezer. It was a place in northern Texas that he'd used, and he's still finding stuff in the freezer that he pulls out, and he'll take pictures of it in the group, just the horrible packaging and the nightmare stories of trying to deal with them and their employees and stuff. It's just constant. And I said, I wish I could say I haven't heard all this shit before. Thankfully, I worked at processors bad enough that I left, but even there, we heard the horror stories of that kind of shit going on at other processors. And I actually worked at a pretty decent one overall.
Yeah.
Up until it wasn't. But at least they tried to make the packaging look nice. They tried to do the customer service side of things. There's some out there that just don't give a shit. Like they shouldn't even be running a garage sale, and they're running their own butcher business,
And it sucks. And it sucks because then people don't trust us,
Right.
And you have to
you have to like try to not only are you completely new, whole new business model, nobody's dealt with this before. Right. You've got all of the stereotypical crap of they're expecting the same shit that they got from their butchers before, or they just expect you to have no idea what you're doing, to be completely incompetent.
Right. And that's why I don't argue with people if they want to stay and watch. If you want to stay and watch, I don't argue, because you know what? If that's what it's going to take for you to trust me, fine. That's cool. Just also stay out of my way so I don't accidentally cut you.
True.
I'd be hacking sometimes. I'd be just swinging knives.
Go.
If I prefer
you're going in and out and doing that stuff in a day. I mean, you'll roll in, kill and cut and pack a beef in a whole day by yourself, and that's damn impressive for anybody.
Thank you.
I
actually did. I impressed myself just recently because I had an emergency call, and it was in Waynoka. It was like 3 hours away, or it was in Waynoka. I don't know. It was somewhere out there, and I had some stuff going down at my property that I needed to get home, and I was angry about it, and I took a 10-inch blade, and I just went to town, and I had a 1,400-pound cow done in, I don't know, 4 hours. 4 hours.
Rage cut. Yeah.
I mean, it was a full grind, so that's fair. But usually
very
full
good
grind
friend of mine that used to work at a previous processor. I still keep in touch with him, and with nobody else that we worked with got that. He'd been a retail butcher for 30 years when he showed up, and we clicked. We were always bouncing ideas off each other and shit, and nobody else understood. We would show up, especially during deer season, when you have 45 deer. One person has to cut today and get it done. There was times we'd roll through more than that because you'd get pissed off enough. And the sad part is the bosses figured it out. They realized how much faster you worked when you were pissed off, and they'd come in and just totally ruin your fucking day. And it's like, fine, fuck that 70 deer later. You just blew through this shit. You leave, you just throw the knife at the fucking wall and leave, and I just got played,
This guy's smart.
But it's a thing. It is a thing. You get in that mode and you focus and you just pick things apart.
Yes. So I prefer rock music. I'm a rocker. I'm a walking contradiction for everyone who needs to know that.
Yeah. I had a playlist that was going on the kill floor quite often, and people, when they'd walk out there, open the door, and they'd close the door. And I also figured out exactly what the one inspector who was a bitch liked to listen to, and that's what we played whenever she showed up. So she was never there long.
Yeah, I'll switch.
I asked her one day, really nice. I said, "What do you like to listen to?" She's like, "Pretty much everything, but like death metal."
So I'll listen
to the radio every time you show up.
While I'm cutting, it's definitely like screamo.
Yep.
Like I love me some Nothing More is my favorite band right now, and like Asking Alexandra, I'm kind of in that zone.
Yep.
I'll be listening to that one.
Tempo, it keeps you in the mood, but then somebody shows up and they're like, "Wow, they're listening to devil music and playing with blood. Great!"
All right, yeah, and I might
waiting for a demon to arise from a puddle now. Oh, awesome!
I'd be in my trailer alone, just like dancing, singing, screaming with it too, and slinging knives.
That's working.
It's great, but then you always know when I'm packaging grind, because then the music turns to like Miley Cyrus in like 90s country or something, and they're like, "What the hell?" All of a sudden they hear Goodbye Earl playing in my trailer. That's my absolute favorite to screw with people. And
while you're butchering animals, the woman alone playing,
if I ever I would love to just put my logo on the side of the trailer, which I haven't for good reason yet. But if I ever do, I just want to drive around town playing Goodbye Earl.
That's what I did
and just video people's reactions.
I had a magnet on the side with my logo. That's what, did you just slap it on? Because there was times I didn't want it on. I didn't want people to be like, "Oh yeah, that's got a bunch of equipment in there." I could just take it off, or what, I got a car wash or whatnot. If I wanted to park in town and like camp one night because I was like on a long job and I just didn't want to drive home, take the magnet off.
Yeah, I haven't because I don't
You're an
really
aluminum
fit-
trailer, so you can't put a magnet on. Never mind.
yeah, exactly. But I also kind of don't fit in any categories as far as like pulling over and getting like way stations and stuff. I'm afraid they're gonna tell me I have to stop at way stations and get a
That's
CD.
my other question was when it deals with weight. When you're driving a dually, you're driving a long ass freaking trailer. Do you have to deal with commercial, or has that ever been an
No.
issue? Or
So like I said, I don't actually fit in any, like I am for hire, but I'm not hauling stuff. I'm in a weird category. So my rig is only 19,000 pounds with the truck and me in it. So the
that's not
trailer
too
weighs like nothing. Yeah, the trailer is so light and I don't have a ton of stuff in there. The rail is obviously the heaviest part, and then
Mhm.
the cranes and stuff.
If you were hauling a couple of beef, you might be
Yes.
pushing 2,600. Maybe.
I would be pushing the 26,000 pound limit if I had 8 head hanging in there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Which it's
Well, at least you got that
capable
much.
of
You
doing.
got the room. You know you've got the option. You know, as long as you don't have like a freaking 2,300 pound beef you got to go kill or something.
Yeah, if I ever open a shop, that trailer will still work for me.
Yep.
Because I can haul stuff back, and I love
Mhm.
that option. I'm so excited. I don't know if I'm ever gonna open a shop though. Like I keep wondering like what's my next step gonna be, and I
People
think
keep trying to get me to as well, and I was like, I'm like, honestly, if I wanted to go work in a shop, I could do it tomorrow, but I don't know if I want to do that anymore. It's like
honestly,
I like the different shit every day. I like the adventure. I like going out. I like helping people. I like
I do
dealing
too.
directly with the customer and
Yes.
teaching people too.
I've
I don't
had
do that when I
so
work in a shop.
much fun, like learning from other people and getting to know my customers. And also, like, I've gotten to butcher for people from South Africa, people from Nigeria, and they don't know how to describe these cuts that they're used to getting in other countries. And
Right.
so, what's been really beautiful is I've been able to butcher for some of these other ethnicity, groups, and been learning the cuts that they enjoy. Like, a couple customers from South Africa, they enjoy a certain kind of jerky, but it comes from, like, mainly it has to do with the fat. So I'm able to cut exactly what he wants for his family, and he was so excited because in 2 years, he hasn't been able to find meat that he can make this jerky that he and his family are so used to, and they love it. And so for the first time in 2 years, he was able to do that, and it just like fills my heart with complete joy because and I'm learning about like churrasco. That was a recent one.
Oh God, I love churrasco.
Yeah, so I always like
Tanya is the best.
I always like to learn like what's the important part that you want. You know what I mean? Because some people it's like the steaks are the important part. Some people it's steaks and ground meat or
a
salt.
bunch of ground.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the important thing to you?
You get the people that want every little bit in the stew meat, and they want everything possible not ground in every individual cut that they possibly can get. And what's not stew meat, they want stir fry meat.
I don't have very many customers that do that, and I try to explain to them. I'm like, you can just cut it up out of any roast. I can't. Our mutual friend actually said it really well. She was like, I can cut stew meat. She's like, but I can't uncut it. So
yes, I will try to explain that to people too. I'll be like, look, you have more options if I leave you larger cuts. I said I even try to, when I can, talk them into like, do you want a couple of prime ribs? I can always come back and cut them in the ribeyes for you later if I'm around, or next trip, just pull it out of the freezer, pre-thawed, and be like, hey, can you cut these into ribeyes for me while you're working? I don't have a problem doing that, but I can't put it back together. Butcher twine only goes so far,
Right. I can't undo it. So I try to tell people that. Luckily, most of my customers aren't that way. But yeah, I learned about churrasco, and so that's what was important to them. I was like, the skirt steak, the flank steak. I love it. I pulled bavettes and inner skirts for them. I gave them like 8 different options. They were so happy. And the thing is like they weren't getting that at other butcher shops because
they don't have time to mess with it, and they don't need to. That's the other thing too.
Yeah.
Well, they're so busy at these shops anymore that people, they figure out these guys are assholes and they won't do the custom requests that they want because they don't have to. If they lose you as a customer, they literally don't care.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
It does not matter to them because they've got a million more and life goes on. For them, it's whatever. You're a pain in the ass customer. But these people want to learn, and the reason they're asking for these specific things is because they care about what they're doing. So they're perfect candidate for either what you're doing or for what I'm doing, showing them how to learn to do it themselves.
Well, and I have a lot of customers that are both. Like they come to the classes, and sometimes the class is what helps them realize, like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I've had that as well.
And for some people, it's a realization like, oh, well, I need to invest in all this equipment that I don't have, and I'm not willing to invest that money. But on the flip side of that is there have been some times where I've told customers, like, I can't get to your emergency right now. And this is if it's a situation like bloat, if it's a situation like I had a bull in a swimming pool one day, situations like that where they're going to shoot it right now. And I tell them, like, if you'd come to my class, you'd know how to, you'd at least get it to a point.
I've had that before too, folks, that they call me up. Well, I've killed it. Now what do I do? And I'm like,
throw it away.
I can't help you. I had one guy that I said, all right, I'll, because he knew a good customer of mine. And I'm like, I'll go see what he's got. Best I could tell him, like, keep it clean, get it on ice as quick as you can. I'll come down and see if there's anything I can help you with. And no, by the time I got there, that I opened up ice chest full of freaking green meat. They weren't even there. I had to call the guy. He's still pissed. Guy won't call me back. I don't care. I'm like, I'm not going to cut up something that's rotten and feed you shit. I just can't. I won't do that. And I told the guy before he pulled the shot. He talked to me like a day or two before. I've got this heifer keeps getting out. Heifer keeps getting out. I'm going to shoot it one day. Okay. Guy was inebriated every time I talked to him on the phone. And one day he just got pissed off and shot it. And then he wanted me to clean up the mess. Well, you made the mess. I'm sorry. You lost that animal.
You're on your own.
I can't. Yeah. I can't be held responsible for your choices. I warned you.
And it's crazy to me the number of people that call me that assume that it needs to be dead before I get there.
No.
People actually think that.
Yeah.
I had someone just the other day on the phone where he was like, well, so what do you want us to do? Just he was trying to, I was confused because he was like, well, how does this all work? And he goes, so do you want, I just shoot it before you get there? And I was like, what? Why would you think that you would shoot it?
That's my job. Like literally, that's why you're hiring a professional.
I got you, dude. It's crazy to me, some of the like assumptions. Once it's dead, you're on your own, my friend. I'm
so many people they'll call a regular shop and they'll be like, yeah, I just shot a steer. What do I do to bring? And years ago, there's a lot of people that would do that. They would bring their meat to the shop. That is not going to happen anymore. If there is any level of government inspection, if you shoot that animal, you are on your fucking own. Yeah, they will only process something that they slaughter. The most regulated portion of the entire process is the slaughter.
Right.
Everything else beyond that, they only care that it's pretty much a hygienic area that it's cut in. If you did that yourself, you are shit out of luck if you don't want to cut it up yourself.
Yeah, and I don't know about Texas, but here in Oklahoma, everybody has gone USDA and state, mainly USDA, just because there were grants.
Once you deal with all the state bullshit, it's not that much harder to go USDA.
Yeah, well, it was the grant money. Everybody got grant money to open butcher shops because the butcher shops were booked out like 2 years in advance during COVID. And then you had people scheduling 3 appointments at 3 butcher shops, different butcher shops with for the same cow. Well, you can only butcher the same cow once. I'm sorry, my dude. People were like selling butcher dates on Craigslist.
I tried to get one of my customers to do that. They had a date down at a shop and they were just tired of using them and they wanted to get out of it. And he goes, I think I'm not going to use that. I'm using another processor. And I said, well, you've got a slot there. I said, you know how hard that shit is? I said, I would be talking to all your buddies and be like, $100, you can have my spot. I guarantee you somebody's going to open their wallet up in a heartbeat because nobody can get shit in right now for 9 fucking months.
Yeah. You know? If I found out someone was selling my butcher dates online, I would probably put them on my list of
I'm sure you would. But yeah.
Yeah. Because my appointments, people cancel my appointments and don't realize.
Well, you also have to plan where you're going to be. You have to like strategize location and shit. You know,
but I only do. Yeah. And I only do.
You can't just walk with somebody 300 miles to the other direction and surprise, bitch, I'm going to show up to your house looking for something to kill.
Yeah. I only go to 1 farm a day. If people cancel on me with less than 24 hours notice, I'm not going to fill that spot. I'm screwed.
Right.
I've lost a whole day's work. And like, just a couple weeks ago, I had 3 cancellations in 1 week. Okay, that's 3 days out of the month.
Yeah.
Not to, I mean, that's a lot of, that's a hit to me. And I keep like kind of going back and forth on whether or not I'm going to start taking deposits because of that. If that trend becomes, if I get pissed off enough, I will just start.
It's hard to have to bite the bullet and do that from
hate
the
to do
mobile
it.
side, but it may be necessary. I mean, what I found on the wild game side, I have to. Dude, there's so much. I have so many customers, and it's so random, and people's schedules vary, and hunters are a whole different breed. So I have to do deposits, or I literally just lose half my money. So.
Hunters really are a different breed. It's why I don't do wild game. I always just figured wild game was my backup plan. If for some reason
the money is better in it than there is anything else in butchery. So
I know,
and I get to get creative and play with, like, you know, different sausage blends and stuff. So I like that part, but I'll tell you what, 3-4 solid months of it gets really old after a while.
I'm not into, like, I haven't graduated butcher school. Okay. I haven't made it into curing and all the fancy.
You're not into the old charcuterie yet. Yeah,
no,
I know. But I kind of was into that before I was into the slaughter side a little bit. I worked for a place that mostly did retail and sausage, and then went to a place that was known for their wild game and sausage, and then they added a kill floor and started adding the domestic processing. Right. And I kind of learned coming up with them, literally helped them build the kill floor, and then they fucked around and found out, and now here I am. So I kind of came backwards from it. I came from the retail side all the way up the chain to doing this. And then you sort of just landed in butchery from beekeeping.
I know. Isn't that wild?
And homesteading.
Isn't that wild? It's too bad nobody wanted to hire me so I could learn how to do some cool stuff. But it's fine. I'll just do what
there's still a lot you can experiment and learn yourself. There's still a lot you can do and learn online. I know a guy with a podcast. I know a guy has a whole online community where people ask shit like that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I just had a litter of piglets, in January. And so I'm going to hold back a couple for my own sake to butcher, and I cannot wait to play with it. Like, I'm going to do so much. And also, every time I look at my boar, because he is gorgeous, I just like.
You're raising what, old spots now?
Old spots, yeah. I got UK bloodline. I got fancy.
Nice.
I can't pronounce the name, so I just call them G spots. And apparently they call them goss in the community. And I was like, why is nobody calling them G spots? I am upset and appalled that nobody is calling them G spots. So that's what
when one gets out, you're hunting for the G spot.
They're literally.
It was right there. It had to happen. It had to happen.
They're UK bloodline too. They're registered UK bloodline. They all fancy. Right. So I just want to eat one real bad.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Yeah.
Wait. So we're gonna have some in about 7-8 months. We're gonna butcher some old spots, and I'll probably just make a class of it and make some really cool stuff, or attempt to make some really cool stuff. Hopefully, I don't ruin anything too badly. But I'm after jowl bacon and some heads. I'm gonna do something with the head.
You're gonna do some hog head cheese, huh?
I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna do something.
Scrapple.
I don't know.
No, I don't know. I've never really cooked the whole head before. I've done quite a few skulls, saved them,
Yeah.
That's fun.
My friend of Bad Baxter Farm, shout out to Bad Baxter Farm, cool people. She does some stuff with the head. She missed her calling in life. She should have been a chef, because she does all the homesteading and does all the canning and all the curing, and literally,
my coffee guy made it.
She literally cans like Spam. Homemade Spam.
Nice. I've wanted to try doing Spam, but I haven't played with it yet.
It was actually really, really good.
It's not hard either. It's a pretty simple recipe.
Yeah, and she makes heart jerky. So I've been hoarding hearts from customers that don't want them. And I'm going to make a batch of heart jerky because...
Does she do like a ground jerky with it? Or is it just she slice?
Sliced.
Nice.
Sliced.
I've never thought about trying to do jerky. I love beef heart, but I've never tried to do
hearts jerky. Are wonderful. Anybody listening, chicken hearts are my favorite. I'm partial to the chicken hearts, but beef heart, super yummy. If you're going to start out with organ meats, start with the heart, because
heart is the way to go for sure. Unless you're somebody who likes liver, and that's an obvious choice, but heart is the easy. Yeah. I'm not really big on liver. I love making boudin though. I make the shit out of some boudin.
I like pate out of liver. Like, give me something I can put on a charcuterie board. Give me my adult Lunchable.
Now, I'll tell you what,
because
10% by weight liver, fine ground into ground beef, you don't know it's there. I get a lot of people that request that because they want more liver in their diet, and they know it's healthy for them, and some of them even have like anemia issues and stuff like that, so they're trying to find ways to get it, and they don't want to take liver pills because they just can't stomach it. But I had to experiment a little bit with it. But you take regular, just plain good ground beef, 10% liver. You have to fine grind it. You have to go through the fine plate, and I usually double grind because you're going to see those pieces in there. But you cook that up, you cannot taste it, you can't tell it. It doesn't smell like liver. But I
can't double grind though. Yeah. My machine will not allow me to double grind.
Your grinder is a bitch.
Bro, I need to bitch about Cabela's for a minute. Let me just
go for it.
I need to put them on blast on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere I can, because these people have fucked me over so hard, and I hate them for it.
The grinders, but they changed them up. Like what? So 3 years ago?
If you speak with Cabela's, like I spoke with the GM of our Cabela's here, and she legitimately just said it outright. She said that since we merged with Bass Pro, she said we've changed manufacturers on all sorts of things. She goes, and it's shit.
What, Blue Sky now or something like that?
Yeah, it's Blue Sky. And our mutual friend has one. I had used it. I thought it was a good product. I got the bigger.
Their grinder is a badass. I tried to kill their grinder. I have tried to stop it, and they can't. But it's not. And they love it, and they swear by it, and they still recommend it. But I'm like, look, guys, the new shit is not what you have.
No. So I bought a bigger model because less cutting. Obviously, I'm going to go there. And it's
size 32 head.
42.
Jesus.
And they're the only company running a 110 outlet on a 42 head. And I'm like, this is awesome because less cutting. Because I don't know if you're like me.
I think Weston or something does a 42 as well. I think.
I don't think so. I haven't found it. But if I will look it up later, we'll find out. If they have one, I'm buying it tonight.
Right. And I don't remember the top size that meat brand does, or I think it might be 32.
Yeah, theirs is pretty small.
I do everything with the 32, an LEM.
Pretty much everything is 32 elsewhere, yeah. But my hands are like jacked from butchering already, right? So I'm like, ooh, less cutting. That seems to make sense. It's a 1 3/4 horsepower. I thought all was gonna be well. I couldn't even get it to work for how many weeks? I don't know how many weeks.
Long time. And it was just not fitting together, mushing shit up, constant binding.
It's pissing me off. I literally just can't get it to do the one job it's supposed to do. And if you open up the manual on page 1, it says to call the manufacturer, not to call Cabela's. And I'm like, dope, I got you. And so I call. And they tell me, okay, you need to like loosen the wing nuts. I'm going, okay, you're telling me that the one wing nut holding the auger and the blade and everything together should be loose. And I'm going, okay, but it worked. So I'm like,
they literally their product is so shitty of tolerances that it's manufactured at. You have to leave it loose so that it doesn't bind up.
So hear me out though.
I never had that with the alien.
Here's what happens. There is one freaking screw holding this entire unit into the motor. Okay, holding that whole mouth
on the end of the worm drive, basically.
That mouth is held on. The mouth that runs the auger, the blade, and the plate. Okay, it's held on by one freaking screw on one side of the motor. Okay, so what is happening is this unit is rocking. It's like rocking.
Oh, I got you. So what the whole grinder head where it slides in, it's just got okay. The aliens have that too, so
it rocks. And what it does,
you have to learn to reach back and tighten it halfway through a little bit.
I do all the time. I'm constantly tightening it. But what it does is it moves so much that it's slowly but surely stripping that thread. Okay. What idiot designed this machine with one screw to hold it all together? I'd like to meet, because I'd like to slap him upside the head a couple times. It needs to have 2, and there's space.
Engineers are never repair people.
There's too much space between the auger and the head. And so that also creates some friction, and it'll cook the meat. And lucky for me, I have learned that it's more of a problem on lean beef, like bulls, which are the ones I'm grinding the most, because those are the most often full grind and also larger. So anytime I'm dealing with something over 2,000 pounds, it's an old bull. It's an
And
old
it's tough as nails.
mean
And you
bull,
need the grinder to be able to work.
and it's not. And I have replaced it 4 fucking times in 1 year.
You almost need a stand-up grinder. And it sucks
I
because
do.
trying to find one that runs on 110 is impossible.
Bro, first of all, I have found them. If you've got a spare 20 grand, let me know.
Let me look. No.
Can't afford it.
I know. They're so expensive.
I legit can't afford it right now. I am just like everybody else. I know that people see my rig and they think, oh, she's got money. No, I don't. I got debt, baby.
No, you have money. It's called a trailer. That's where your money's at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like everybody else. I raise livestock. I'm trying to keep everything fed, and I'm also just trying to live. And just trying to survive, man. I can't afford this. I think it's actually 17,000 was the cheapest I found. I can't remember what brand it was right now. It was a different one. It wasn't. What's the big brand? Remind me. Hobart. It wasn't a Hobart, but it was a different brand. It was smaller. And we're talking their smallest unit that'll run on single phase was $17,000. Yeah. And that's the other problem is if I went single phase with a grinder that size, then I also have to figure out if that's going to run on my generator, or if I'm going to have to upgrade the generator, and to upgrade the generator to what I want is another, 12.
That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And I run into the same thing with bandsaws. It's hard to find decent 110 bandsaws. Or even single phase. Everything that is affordable is retired grocery store equipment. They're all 3-phase.
And then you can't find the replacement parts.
Sometimes trying to find the converters, but then you always lose some power. And I've kind of just settled on most of the time it's cheaper to replace the whole damn motor on that saw with a single phase motor.
If you can find the parts, because some of those older machines.
There's going to be some people. I know guys that engineer shit. So that's the thing. You're going to basically have to have parts milled. You're going to have mounting brackets made. This is going to be a project. This is a custom piece of equipment,
Yeah.
But in the world you live in, this stuff, it's not like they just make an easy slide-in stand-up grinder for a mobile trailer. And those things are heavy as shit, too.
Exactly. And then you have to consider what's going to happen going down the road.
Yeah, you've got to balance something else heavy on the other fucking side, because otherwise you're going to take a turn one time and your whole fucking trailer rolls over because you've got an 800-pound grinder sitting on one side.
Sorry, this is a baby goat being delivered to me right now.
Oh, nice. Oh, you've had the one rolling around with you.
I have a preemie. Yeah, well, he was a preemie. Now he's of age. But he's getting a bottle every 4 hours, but he shouldn't need a bottle until 8 o'clock. So I think we've got 20 minutes.
Kyle's got his bandsaw turns on with a light switch. Nice. I take it there's a little bit of rigging going on there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
That's brilliant.
Hey, you can make it work.
I love that.
Oh, shoot. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me see if I can hit up some of the questions that were back here. We're actually coming up on an hour and a half, and it'll get dark. They'll kick me out of the park. Let's see here. I don't know what. Do you know a Sam Coker? They really like gloves. They commented a few times that they like gloves, and they want to know what gloves we use. I don't know if they're referring to butcher gloves or if this is a troll type thing. I had a troll last week. I had someone came in under account Bozo the Clown telling me all about how America sucked and 9/11 was great and everything else like shit. I was like, this is awesome. So by the way, guys, that discount code Bozo is still 5% off everything in the shop. Thanks, Bozo.
Oh, yes, I heard that. You know what? I have my own special group of haters.
It's always fun. I love it. That means you're doing something. If you don't have somebody out there hating on what you're doing, you're not doing anything.
I know, but there's a couple of them that here comes baby goat. Do you hear him?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep, I hear it.
He's gonna have to get a bottle here in a little bit. And it's a fight. We can totally pause, and I can give him a bottle. And
oh, you're fine. You're fine. I'll hit some questions up here while you're doing whatever you do.
But people might actually enjoy that crap because
I'm sure
he is super cute.
Not going to upset anybody by doing goat stuff on.
He's literally the tiniest. Hi.
Is that what breed? Dairy goat?
No, Nige. He's Nigerian dwarf. Yep. So he wasn't supposed to get bred. He wasn't even supposed to be here. His daddy decided to breed his daughters and through
Not to say about Oklahoma.
They Thought that was Arkansas, but okay.
I don't know. Somebody told me Texas the other day, and I'm like, get your state right.
Yeah, no, Oklahoma.
That's Alabama.
Yeah, I think it was I think it's an Arkansas, Alabama thing. I don't know. Oklahoma.
Yeah.
What are we known for? Really, tornadoes, I guess.
Yeah, that in Kansas or the tornadoes. Yeah, Oklahoma is mostly known for Indian reservations and pot. Right now,
we love our pot here. Yeah. They're everywhere. It is a beautiful thing because before it was just churches on every store, like every street corner, and now it's churches and shops.
Yeah,
cannabis shops. Which I don't know if we're gonna get banned on TikTok for saying that.
Nah, we'll be fine. It's legal in most places if you're not in Texas now, so whatever.
I was told that we're not supposed to talk about it. I guess they're very weird about cannabis.
I'm not afraid of getting banned. If they ban me, I'll just that's great. The next episode of something will be like, what TikTok doesn't want you to hear.
Yeah,
too hot for TikTok.
They keep temporarily banning me. I struggle.
I just got off a temporary live ban.
Nice, good job. I'll have to go back and look at the last slides and see what you said to get banned.
I don't even know what it was that it was me and my buddy Brian. It was like just 2 hours of us bullshitting. And I have no idea, but it was supposedly hateful, so it probably was to somebody, I'm sure.
Yeah, mine is always violent content, graphic content.
It's like dead animal shit, yeah.
I get a little irritated, though, because I'm like, okay, so it's considered violent content as a carcass, but the minute I cut it into a steak, we're cool.
Pretty much. People are just
scared. We are so disassociated from our food. We are so disconnected that we can't even look at carcasses without saying it's violent. Are you out of your mind? That is where your food comes.
The world we live in now.
It's so aggravating.
I'm like children that think eggs come from the grocery store.
Oh yeah, no, I know. And then they're like, they think that brown eggs mean that they're from a farm.
And chocolate milk comes from a brown cow. Lisa here says that they finally got a first mobile slaughter in Kansas near them, and it's about 30 miles from them, so that's cool.
Good, yeah.
And, it also said down here, she had asked, maybe you know something, what other good podcasts that teach butchery? I don't know of a ton of podcasts that specifically teach it. There are a lot of YouTube channels, which is cool because it's a hard format to do, not in video. And I wish I had more video stuff to put up for you guys. It's just hard to do it and video it at the same time. But Tiffany's got some awesome social media content. The Bearded Butchers have a really good, like really, really technical. It's hard to watch that sometimes as a home butcher because everything they're doing is in like the perfect, spotless, clean, all of the equipment, like professional USDA shop. They have a lot of shit you don't have, but it's really good for looking at, this is how it's supposed to be done. This is what I want to achieve. So then when you want to figure out how to do it with your own shit, then ask me, how do you redneck it? That's I've kind of made a
right.
Out of that.
That's me.
I'll be like, yeah, I'll cut you T-bones, and I'll be in there with a reciprocating saw, and and I can make it work too. Sorry, I can make it look like I came off a bandsaw. It'll just take me 5 times as long.
It's fine. It's totally fine. I was actually gonna go watch I heard the Bearded Butchers had I think, was it you who told me they had a video on bison, because that's coming up next month. I'm totally gonna watch.
I did not have. They do have a lot of them that they do on bison as far as the actual breakdown.
Yeah,
the breakdown is very similar to beef. Like I said, they're bigger chested, but much smaller in hinds than you think, and you'll be surprised.
Can see it. Yeah,
you'll be very surprised when you process one, because your assumption is bison are huge, they're bigger than cows. They're not. They're all hide. They're all hide and head. Once you get that hide off, it's like a scrawny little longhorn.
How's it skinning them?
Furry. You ever done a Highland?
Yeah.
It's a lot like a Highland.
Oh, okay, but it's still same, like.
The hide can be a little bit thicker on some of the older ones, but you'll get through it. It'll be fine. It's no worse than doing a big old bull.
It's not going to be an old one. We're going to do younger. It's going to be like 1,000 pounds.
With some of the shit I've seen you do, that I've seen pictures of that you've done, you'll be fine. A bison will not be a problem. The only trick will be, just the putting it down, and if there's other bison around you, as long as you have the situation set up right, you should be fine.
Yeah, this is something I've actually been working with the producer for like a year. He's been wanting me to come butcher one, and I told him, I was like, I have very specific things. Like, my trailer is not being pulled in a pasture full of bison. Abso-freaking-lutely not. Like I said, somebody's already hit my trailer with their tractor, and I
Yep.
had to send them a very large bill for that. Not to mention, then I have to like take time off work to take it in somewhere to have it fixed and all this crap, and that messes with my schedule. Like I'm scheduled out already, you know.
Yeah.
It's actually weird though, because certain
Hard
ones
to
are booked and
book
certain ones aren't.
yourself full when you're in this line of work. You know, there's not a
Yeah.
lot of competition. Nobody else
No,
out there doing your shit anywhere near you.
no. And I also have to make room in my schedule every week for emergencies because it never fails that somebody's going to call me. Now, do I get to all of them? No. But a lot of times they just wait too long to call me, or there's too many factors, too many risk factors. I won't go out and do it. You know, if it's going to be inedible, I'm straight with people. What was that last comment?
Oh, Brian, that's my crazy coffee guy. He's talking about how you can this shit you can get away with on social media. Oh,
I
man.
know, it's crazy that I can
Now we
get
know
away
what his
with more on
TikTok
Facebook.
looks like. So
I just think it's crazy that I can get away with more on Facebook than I can on TikTok.
yeah, I don't know. I get banned more on Facebook than anywhere else, but
Really?
but well, not recently because I avoid doing anything on Facebook for the most part, other than occasionally specific groups and just people I know, keeping in touch with some friends. I don't Facebook much. I put my shit out there. I'll broadcast my stuff to it, but I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook anymore because I say what I think and people report.
It's time to open an OnlyFans. I bet you I could put whatever content I want on OnlyFans. I could get as gory as I want, cutting heads off.
You could. I honestly though, from what I understand, and I don't know because this topic came up before. This was a topic in my group at one point. Somebody's like, I should do that. I think their terms of service is they actually know blood and gore. Like they're okay with hardcore shit that whatever, but nope, certain things.
Womp womp womp.
Right.
I was all excited for a minute. I was like, "This
okay, we'll come up with our own version. We'll come up with like a random gory butcher OnlyFans type thing. You know, people just show up and tip you in Bitcoin."
Yeah, because I mean, there are just so many moments. I gotta preface this by saying, like, I do take the dispatch very seriously. Like,
oh yeah.
It's extremely important to me that the animal doesn't stress, doesn't see it coming. It's quick, it's one and done, and that's it. However, I miss too many opportunities to joke around about it on TikTok. I'm like, oh man, that song is perfect. I'm like, I could totally do a TikTok for this. And then I'm like, wait, I can't post that.
Yeah, I just do it anyway. I just do it anyway.
I know. And then they just get taken down. It's frustrating because then I'll spend like 4 hours editing it, making my masterpiece. And then I'm mad because I've lost the time.
I just do it on TikTok, throw it up there, have the auto download, and then I turn around and I throw it up on YouTube Shorts too. And I know YouTube doesn't really like that it's TikTok branded, but I don't give a fuck and I do it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I throw TikToks on my Facebook all the time because honestly, social media is a job.
It is.
People deserve for this. You know, I remember when people first started getting paid as like social media creatives, you know, and
everybody was bitching about it.
Yeah.
Nobody saw the work that went into getting them there.
But you know what? I've got 2 businesses, which means I have 2 accounts on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I have all those message pages, all those comments to reply to. Plus, I have 2 phone lines, which I really don't use the second one, but I put it on my business cards and occasionally still get a call. So I still hold it. And so I got to go through the text messages, and then I've got to go through, you know, the phone calls and the voicemails. And I'm going, oh my gosh, after I'm done getting through all of that, I'm like, it's been 5 hours.
I know.
And that's without even
try building your own website and doing that shit on the side. I just spent the last week working on this freaking spice thing because it needed to happen. The website needed to go up.
Yeah.
You sit down and it's like, wow, I accomplished 10% of what I wanted to in 5 hours is gone. It's amazing how much of a time suck it is. And then the content stuff, like that little you didn't see it, you were logging in, but that little 3-minute seasoning video, that eats up at least 2 hours of my time. And that's after I've gotten good at it. The first time I made that 3-minute polished video, it was 5 hours. Yeah. And that's not counting the research into the actual content to put in it.
I know. Some of my Facebook posts, I have spent 5 hours creating one post. And because also, like, I know that people are just sitting back waiting to talk shit. They're just waiting. They're just waiting. And so you have to I try to like cover my ass a little bit here and there. and try to explain things in a way that everybody can understand and try to be neutral. I try to be as neutral as possible about, some of the more controversial topics,
Right.
but sometimes I can't help myself and I say stuff. And
We
then,
all do. We all do. But, I've just got to the point where I embrace it. And I'm like, if you don't like me, I'm not for you. Go follow somebody else. Move on. And if you want to be a piece of shit, I'll just block you and I'll move on with my life too.
hey, somebody named Meat, does that say Meat Freak on
Yeah, I
TikTok?
saw that they joined a bit back and said, hey, I
Meat
believe I
Freak.
have seen them on TikTok. I think they might follow me, if I remember correctly.
Is that a meat fetish?
I think they have a barbecue channel, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
I have a few guys like that are doing that, barbecue guys, seasoning guys, and stuff too. So, well, now I'm doing this whole seasoning thing, so I've got to be the online personality. That's interesting. I've never branched out into that before, where I'm like selling something as my name.
Yeah, your brand.
Ish.
Your brand.
Like, oh damn! I have to.
But it should
learn
sell
this.
itself. I mean, and you should be working with some of those barbecue guys and stuff. Some of these retail stores instead of butcher shops.
I've already got a couple of places, small time stuff, like little hometown stores that are opening up that want to put my stuff out there. Hey, right now I'm like I'm just happy getting it up on a website and everything and blending it as I go. But hopefully, I should be hearing back in the next. Hopefully day or two. If not, I'll be giving them a call, the Big Spice company with that pan sausage seasoning for the bulk buys. Because I have you and actually Kyle over here in the chat too is interested in doing a bulk buy. Small processors, you want to buy a good bit at a time because you need it, and that's something easy to make is breakfast sausage. So
yeah, and I just don't have time.
When I first started with the idea, that's what I was thinking of. Like, well, I do a lot of sausage seasoning, so that's what I do. I'll sell that, but there's not a lot of people buying it, and when they do buy it, they're buying it in bulk. I've kind of had to start branching out into more, hey, like chili seasoning, shaker seasoning, steak seasoning, stuff like that. And which is fun. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more small batch, but I get to have fun with it and I get to eat really good while I figure it out.
Yeah, you could branch out into so much stuff, but and I haven't announced it publicly, but I've been teasing some customers about this potential cure situation because the one freaking thing I can't do is cure bacons and hams.
Right.
And a lot of folks are learning how, but also a lot of my customers are just not interested in even trying. So some of them will just have me grind it up, but then other people, or we could do, various things. They can still cook it as a pork belly. They can still cook it as a roast. You can still make pork cutlets and things like that out of it, which are delicious. But a lot of people want that cured sugary hams. And, in the beginning I had these big dreams. I have like these big dreams of like my honey baked hams. I have dreams of that, but I legitimately don't have time. That is a freaking joke. I mean to tell you.
And maintaining that and the curing it, making sure it's cured long enough when it comes to the hams. And then I enjoy that part of it, but I have to work that in as a part of the routine during that time of year when I'm doing that.
It's so hard.
It's a time commitment.
For me being mobile, it doesn't make sense. And I really
There's no way you have to have a shop if you're going to do it.
And I don't want people coming to my home all the time. My home is supposed to be my safe place. I should laugh at that because of my current situation. Oh my God. Anyway, but it's supposed to be my safe place. I don't want people coming in and out all the time, dropping off or picking up cured meats. But we might have a ready cure situation that I can sell people, or potentially
that would be a way to go, that you went clear instructions, See, what I'm thinking with a lot of these different, especially like sausage seasonings, cures and stuff like that, if somebody buys it, literally have an extra sticker on the bag that has like an address and a QR code where go to this website and it's a full blog post on how to do it, video content if possible, pictures, walkthrough, that kind of stuff. Because that's what people want. People aren't going to buy your shit unless they know how to use it.
If we make this happen, I will be so excited. So excited.
And cure is not that hard to be able to blend up. It's all numbers and ratios for the right amount of salt, sugars, and now here's the other thing though too. Are most of the people who you're working with wanting the like nitrite free, because that's people don't get that you have to explain that whole ball game of when you cure something you're still using nitrates even if you use celery salt.
Now, the customers that are wanting nitrate free, they're curing their own. They're fine.
Yeah, that's
They're
fine.
okay.
That's fine. Because I'll tell people too, I'm like, look, I don't want to be the one that's responsible for you getting botulism. You know,
Right.
I'll explain why. And I'm like, it's not even just like a liability thing. It's like, I understand the science behind it. I'm not scared of it. And I just don't want to play that game. Because all it takes is one kid to get botulism and die, and I'm going to feel horrible. You know?
Right. That's how I feel about my trailer. Kids on my trailer all the time. I'm like terrified somebody's going to get hurt, and I don't have a liability waiver.
Lisa, hers is Backyard Butchery. She's all over, but I do have her stuff linked down here in the notes on YouTube if you check the video description. And I'll have all that linked as well on the audio side when I put that out. And to answer your question earlier, too, about the podcast, I don't know if you realized when I mentioned my podcast. My podcast is literally just the audio of my live videos that goes up. That way you can listen to it on a podcast player. So you're watching this episode. We just happen to have the video content, too. So
Yeah.
It makes it easier for me. One less thing for me to do, but it gets out to a lot more places. So
yeah, I showered for this live video, you guys.
Right? Well, we appreciate that, I think.
Yeah. So do I. Yeah. I was like, look at that. I got my hair down and everything. It just stays up. It just stays up. I feel bad for my hairstylist because I'm like, just make sure it's still going to ponytail. I really don't care what it looks like.
Yeah, it has to be out of the way.
Yeah. If I was brave, I'd just cut it all off, but I can't. I can't.
Oh, Lord. Well, I do need to lose my voice here. I need to wrap it up a little bit because it is starting to get dark out here. Then they will kick me out of this park, unfortunately.
You have got to get your situation worked out.
Well, I know, but short of Starlink, there is nothing that's just going to work for me to do it at home. You know, and we've talked about that, but I'm like, dude, it's literally like $2,500 a year to have Starlink.
What?
Well, yeah, it's like a 900. Well, especially if you want the mobile, so you could actually take it with you, which I would. It's like $150 a month, and like $900 for the initial equipment or some shit.
Gosh.
It's a chunk. Buddy of mine has it, and it's great because they have to have it. They're on the road all the time, and his wife works remote. Like, that's what she does, like medical coding on the road, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. They have to have it. But I'm like, the money is not there yet. People keep telling me, I was like, you guys are gonna have to start buying a lot of spices for me to get Starlink.
So right.
Go buy some coffee from my dude. Yes. Hook me up.
I want to make some apparel.
I have that. I never mentioned that over in the shop. If you want some merchandise, check that shit out, people. That's over there too. And your coupon codes work for that shit too.
Yeah.
And you get Renegade Butcher logo stuff, and you've got the meat freedom type stuff I have with the Gadsden flag with the snake on the ribeye.
Yeah.
Where it says eat free or die, don't tread on meat.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like 0% vegan or like Backyard Butchery.
Right. Do you do your own website shit, or you have somebody do it for you?
I have somebody do it for me, obviously. Okay. Otherwise, it would be updated. My website is not updated on pricing. And also, that website was created while I still thought I was going to have a dry aging room. So it is false advertising. I have got to get that fixed. And I need to update my cut sheet. I'm embarrassed by my cut sheet because I also, it got thrown together so quick. And of course,
I was going to dive into the whole cut sheet thing, but we ran out of time. That's a whole nother ball game.
Oh, I know.
Lord.
I know.
Oh, that's always
crazy. Well, I've got to feed baby goat anyway.
Yeah, it's about time. We got to wrap this up. I got to get this downloaded and uploaded and all that fun stuff. But I'm sure we will have you back on at some point when all the schedules align. There will be plenty to talk about. You were slightly worried at first. You're like, well, if we run out of things to talk about, that's not going to happen. Especially if we have audience interaction and questions and stuff. So
I know there's so many things we could get into.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
It's been quite a year.
There you go. Kyle's got back of our shirts. His to say, we kill him, you grill him. Yep. There you go. Awesome.
I have a running list of ideas.
Oh, so many. I swear every day somebody has it. That needs to be a shirt. And I'm like, I don't have time to make all these shirts, and I can't make them if y'all don't buy them. So come on, go buy some shirts.
Yeah. I just want some 0% vegan shirts to really piss off that group of people because I get death threats from them.
Well, maybe if you remind me, don't let me forget. I can draft it and put it up in my shop, and then if those sell, I'll just give you the commission for those.
There you go.
I'm
working on it. I've actually somebody made me
just push people over to my shit. Be like, my seasoning guy sells my t-shirts.
My seasoning guy, my seasoning dude in Texas.
It makes you feel so special when you're like, I got a spice guy. It's like I got a coffee guy.
He's got the spice.
Right.
He's got the
Oh,
spices.
shit.
Oh, there's jokes available.
So many.
So many
Well,
jokes.
it's even better when I'm on TikTok all the time because I post these educational things on the different seasonings now. I do like the one a week. So it's my spicy content. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna have an OnlyFans for my
Right.
butcher shop. Just give me time.
Do it. Give it a shot. Why not? All they can do is kick you off, right?
Right.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, I appreciate you being on here.
Of
And yeah,
course.
Kyle says you need to join Telegram. I know. I've been telling her that for a while.
I might already be on Telegram. Did you send
don't
me an invite?
I think I did a while back. It's just
me
like a
another
chat app on the phone, and yeah, it's the place to be though. It's pretty badass over there. We got a pretty
Okay.
good group. We got
I
about
hear that.
75 people on average that are in that group that are all kind of just hanging out talking about this shit. So,
I mean, he says I need to join, but he doesn't know me yet. I'm a
well, he's in that Facebook group with us too. So
okay, cool beans.
he's pretty
Cool
cool.
beans. Send me another invite.
Yeah, I'll
And
shoot you another
we'll
invite.
do this-
Yep.
We'll do this when I come back from vacay.
Right. Yep. All right. Well, I appreciate it, and
Okay.
we'll have you back on, I'm sure. I hope you guys have a good night, and I will get this all wrapped up. So, thanks folks for listening in, and catch you all later.
Awesome. Thanks.